Yo guys, and welcome to the track guide for Mount Panorama or Bathurst. Today we will be having a look at a very weird lap. It was, I think, 10 degrees with fast track, so grip was not there. But I hope that you will have better conditions wherever you drive. Generally speaking, I turned up the brightness and lowered the contrast of everything so you can see what you need to, because it was pitch black practically. So just that you can have the view of all the important points, reference marks and whatever. Yeah, that was a lap with the Aston Martin. It was a 59.4. And I think that is quite solid with what the temperatures and track conditions were, especially in the dark where you see a little less than normally. And I think we can already get that thing started. So, heading to turn 1, we brake somewhere in between 1500. Car dependent where Ferrari and Porsche can maybe brake a little later than, for example, Aston, Bentley, McLaren. So do what fits your car, but just make sure to brake somewhere in between that area. So here you should brake. That's what I did. Downshift to second gear, and then we have that curb on the inside. We don't take it, but let us sling out of it. So we steer and then slowly get the throttle there and reach out of the curb. Okay, that is quite an easy corner. The hill, mountain, whatever is to come, so we will spend the time on that. I don't think that guide will be too long anyway, because not much to explain about the mountain parts anyway. For this corner, we brake at that little patch of road on the left. Here we brake fully down to third gear, and then we go quite drastically on the throttle and get all the power we can get to go to the left here. That was with a little wall tap because I lost a bit of traction, but in the race that wouldn't have been any damage, for example, so you can do that. It is not going to be invalidating your lap. Now we get to the Audi corner, and that is quite easy actually. We get here, do a left steer at where that hole in the wall is practically, to not hit the wall but get close to it anyway, and brake right after it with a straight steering, as straight as possible, down to second gear. With the Ferrari, for example, you can go down to first gear, that is no problem, and then hit the throttle again. That, I need to say, was not optimal. I slipped a little bit and the lap at all could have been way better. Like a 58 should have been possible in that temperatures, but I didn't have a lot of time to grind anyway, so I think we can live with that for the representative matters. So, second gear, and then slowly adapt into the throttle out. TC off works fine with the Aston. With most other cars it works well. All the cars drive really low traction control here, as also the Ferrari just won. TC1, the McLaren is off, for example, like many cars are off. That is fine. And now we get into the more tricky parts. So, that is easily full throttle. So, nothing to explain, just steer to the right, don't take that curb, take that curb, and it's gone. And now it gets a little harder. This one is full throttle too. So get close to the wall, then there is a bump, steer left on that. Get close to the curb, on the curb, close to the wall, and try to not lift a lot. Means we get closing in here. Get on the curb and steer with getting on it. Slightly grab this one and out on this. Not the grass though, that will spin you. So we will have the whole section in one rush. So steer, no curb, curb. Out as far as possible, no wall though. No curb, 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 steer. Practically no curb and send it. And now we get in that flowing motion of a drive into the downhill section. Like we have made it through 50% of the hill and now do the downhill. Do a little bit of a brake and a roll over that bump. So you see we have a bit of a jump here. We will have a look. So it is quite, the car is quite lifting up practically. Probably not perfectly to see, but the car is in the air and we don't want to be on the throttle there because that will give us too much speed, but we also don't want to brake because that will unsettle the rear tires. And to not completely crash, we go as close to the wall as possible. See, that is quite close. Over that curb. With some cars you can take the curb and grass, actually. Close to that wall. That was quite, I would dare to say, quite optimal, actually. That was actually quite close. But you need every single centimeter, you know. And then we get to the right, double apex, and then one rapid steering input close to that wall and out. So once in motion. After getting out here, we do a little brake input, roll, brake, third gear, second gear, close to the wall, whipping it, close to the wall, close to the wall, close to the wall, left, right, close to the wall, once again, close to the wall, and out. So it is quite dangerous. But for that corner I can tell you, just whip the car over. See the steering wheel movement. It's completely to the left and full throttle that the car doesn't lose the rear and front grip, especially the front grip. Close to the wall, then steering with a downshift braking, roll and completely brake. Close to the wall and as early as possible on the throttle. And that's the hill. You have mastered it. You have mastered the mountain, the most feared section in sim racing, I think. Apart from the whole notch life, I could imagine, but definitely a feared environment. And with that we now have the kink and 3 more corners, and I think we can do that. So we brake at 150 with the Fjord, for example, or the Porsche you can brake here probably. We go down to second gear, don't take a lot of that curb and fully send it out, over the curb, on the curb. Yeah, no problem. Easy, easy. And then we brake at 100. And full throttle again. So that corner is really crucial to not go too deep or too narrow and get all the grip available. And that is a lap around Mount Panorama. And it was a 59.460.